Okay, so good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to this evening's presentation. This is an overview on LifeVantage. You're all here to find out more about our products and also about the business opportunity that we have right now. I want to welcome you all. If this is your first time on Zoom, there is a chat box function, which you can just write in any questions you have, say hello, where you're dialing in from. If you're like me, I had an awful lot of questions when I first looked at this. So make a note of the questions as we go along, and hopefully we'll answer them throughout the presentation. Just to tell you what we're going to do tonight, I'm going to introduce myself in a moment. We're going to dive in and take a look at the products behind this amazing company. We're going to look at what makes them so incredibly unique and why it's such a good time to be looking at this right now. Then I'm also going to introduce you to a lovely lady called Jo Lefebour. I've had the pleasure of working with her for the last 2 years. And she's building a really amazing business. I think would be inspirational to anyone, but specifically when you hear her story to a mum who wants to build a business from home, and in her case, a single mum. And then we're going to dive into the business, what building a LifeVantage business means with us, what is possible. But very briefly, before I do, introduce myself. My name is Laura Zimmern. I live in Southwest London with my husband and my 3 young children. I'm originally from Ireland. My background was pretty much in traditional business up until 7.5, 8 years ago. I had a recruitment company in Dublin. I moved to the UK and I set up a yoga business with my sister-in-law. So health and well-being has always been a major passion for me. And I ran that yoga business for 8 years, sold it nearly 8 years ago. And I found myself in a position that a lot of women do when you've been a career woman, but you suddenly, kind of overnight in my case, I found myself at home with 3 young children under the age of 3.5. I always say I don't know how that happened, but I was in that unique position. It's not unique, but it felt very unique to me at the time. And I'm sure if you've been there, you can relate to this, that my husband and I were starting to have these conversations, which kind of went along the lines of him saying, darling, you need to think about getting a job. And I'd always been self-employed. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't actually have any other business ideas. My recruitment business was a profession that I had got into and been successful in. My yoga business was a passion, but it was sold. And it was when the industry of network marketing first found me. And I have to be really honest. I know you're going to get a fairly honest account from Jo when you hear from her a little bit later. I didn't jump up and down when I first heard about it. It actually took me 9 months to get on a presentation like this, 9 long months of resisting an invitation to take a look. Because I just sort of thought it was something other people did. That was not what I did. I was an entrepreneur. But when I finally did sit down and take a look, I realized this was a way of me harnessing that entrepreneurial spirit that I'd always had, getting a business going, but actually working it around my children then, which were all preschoolers. They were all under 3.5. Now, fast forward to 7.5 years later, I've been able to work from home for those 7.5 years. I have been able, developed a 6-figure a year income, and it's become full-time for me, and I love it. It is the most sociable thing I have ever done. If you ask me what I did today, part of what I did today was take my dogs for a walk with a friend and get to know her and talk about life, so you're going to hear more about actually what we do when you get into it. But that's a little bit more about me. You're going to hear from Jo, who has a really inspirational story in a short while. But what I want to kind of dive in and do this evening, because I know everybody who's joining us here this evening, they've heard bits and pieces about the product, they've heard a bit about a business opportunity, and I want to kind of bring that together now in this presentation. So the first thing I want to talk about is why LifeVantage and why now. And I think it's safe to say that when you're assessing any business, whether it's a network marketing business or it's a franchise or it's an idea you have come up with, there's a couple of key things that you need to assess, a criteria with which you need to look at something to realize, is it a good opportunity? Is it a good business? Or, is it a bit of a pipe dream? And this is the criteria that I used when I took a look at LifeVantage 2.5 years ago, because I'd been in network marketing. I'd built a massive organization in another company. I had walked away from that because of things that didn't sit comfortably with me, which had been quite hard. And I thought, if I'm going to dive back in, it was like almost like an Ocean's 11 scene. I'm going back in, am I going to put my name to it? And what I want to do is I want to talk about that criteria. So the first thing I would say, in any business, you want to look at the product. And within that, there's a couple of subsections looking at the product. First thing is, you got to find something that is completely unique, something that nobody else has, especially in the world of network marketing, because we put products into a network marketing model because a product needs a voice. You know, we're ultimately, and we'll talk about how you get paid in a while, we get paid to go out and share this product with people that we care about, friends, family, people we meet in our daily life. And if that's something you're going to spend time educating people on, but they're going to be able to get an alternative down the high street in Holland and Barrett or Boots, then that becomes a job, because you're going to be educating people who are going to buy elsewhere. So you've got to find something that's unique. Second thing is, you got to find something that's affordable and it's consumable. You know, there's lots of great products out there, but they're really expensive. If it's outside of people's budgets, they're not going to stay on it. And you want something that's consumable. So not a one-off, you know, I get a new iPhone every 2 years because my contract automatically renews and I can get it. If I had to pay for it, I might think differently. Okay, so we want something that's consumable, you take. The next thing is, you want something that's independently backed. And I think specifically within the world of nutrition, supplementation, there's a lot of conflicting information out there. And you want something that other people are saying are good. Now, in the case of our products, we have 23 independent peer-review published studies. I was talking yesterday on LinkedIn with somebody in a university in America, and she'd never heard of this. So I sent her the link to PubMed and I said, stick in the name of our flagship product, Protandim. She came back going, you have 23 independent peer review published studies? And I said, yes, you know, go read them and come back to me if you're interested. And she did. You know, when the American Heart Foundation and Harvard University tell you that your products do what they say on the tin and are great, you know you're in a good place. So the kind of key things you want to look at in a product: something that nobody else has, completely unique and independently backed, affordable and consumable. Next thing I would say is, you got to have the right leadership. Now, when I talk about leadership, I'm talking about, in this industry of network marketing, there's two types of leadership we have. We have field leadership. So those are the people like myself and Joe who are working with distributors in the field of the business. But you've also got to have a corporate team. And when I looked at LifeVantage, I saw a corporate team that had a couple of 100 years experience in this industry. They had experience of taking companies where we're at now, around a couple of $100 million a year, to the $1 billion arena. Sorry, I have a light flashing my face. I think a battery is going. Taking it onto an international arena. So that was really important. And together, the team that we're a part of, Team Heart, together, myself and Lisa and 25 other people, we've generated over $300 million in revenue in this industry. And then the next thing I would say is the compensation plan. And we can send you links to dive into the compensation plan. If you're like me, I love numbers, like to work things out in that head of mine. No matter what you have in a compensation plan, you know, all compensation plans are good. When people argue compensation plans, I typically say, you know what, they're designed to motivate you. They're designed to incentivize you to go build a business. But here's the thing I'll tell you, is they're not worth the paper they're written on unless you have two key components. One is retention of customers. If you have people getting on the product and quitting the product, that becomes a job. And when we talk about generating a residual income, you'll see what I mean by that. Doing work today and continuing to be paid for it into the future, you've got to have customer retention. When I first looked at LifeVantage, I saw that they had 82% of people getting on the product and staying on the product. And that spoke to me two things. Product is good because people don't quit something unless they like it. The second thing is, if I build a customer base, I'm going to hang on to them. And the second key component that you want in a compensation plan is, you want to have the right balance. You want 80% customers, 20% distributors. You want the vast majority of people who engage with you to be just users of the product, people getting on it, trying on it, because that means that you're going to have a happy customer base, but you're also going to have distributors with customers. And again, we'll look at that. And then the last thing I would say to you, why you're here, why you're looking at this, and why somebody gave you an excitable phone call and invited you along, is timing. Timing is everything. Just like in property, it's all about location, location, location. You know, when the house prices are soaring, you don't want to be buying in the area. You want to be buying in the area before Waitrose move in, or when you hear Waitrose are moving in, then you know that the house prices are going to soar. And in this industry, or in any industry, it's about timing. And what I'd say to you about LifeVantage right now, they're operating in 9 markets. They're doing $200 million a year, and they're going to go global over the next 3 to 5 years. So that's exciting. So that's just a little bit of a precursor to where we are tonight. I've touched on a few things. I'll go back to those as we go through the presentation. But that's why LifeVantage, why looking at it right now. And if you're like myself and Joe, you're a mother who wants to build a business from home around the demands of a young family, you want to make sure that you're investing your time in something that is worthy and that is going to be worthwhile that time and effort. So diving into what we actually do, well, the company's mission is to biohack the aging code. And when you look at industry, if you look at the last $1 trillion industry, it was in the area of computer coding, and that was started 25, 30 years ago. The next $1 trillion industry is predicted to be in the area of genetic coding, and we operate in an area called nutrigenomics, and that particular subsection of genetic coding is all based around natural products. It's based around herb and plant-based products and how they can influence your body to do things that are good for you. And that industry of nutrigenomics is predicted to be a $600 billion industry by 2030. That's only 12 years away. It's actually less, 11 and a half years away. So it's a really exciting place to be. When people ask me, well, what is actually nutrigenomics? I typically compare them to, supplementation. Supplementation, everybody gets. We supplement because either we're deficient in something like vitamin D or iron, or because our food is deficient. And that's another argument altogether. An apple or a head of broccoli today does not hold the same nutritional value as it did 50 years ago because of what we do in the farming process. So what nutrigenomics is, it's the activation of our genes, okay? And we're going to look at how that works right now. So, but before we dive in and have a look, I want to talk to you about oxidative stress, because our flagship product, Protandim NRF2, is clinically proven to lower oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. Now, unless you understand what oxidative stress is, why we want to avoid it, and why it's so damaging to us, nobody's going to get excited about that. So just to explain to you, when we're children, from the moment we breathe, the moment we start feeding from our mother, energy combusts in our cells, and it converts into energy, and it does lots of good things. But also little things called free radicals, which are unstable molecules, get released, and they start ping-ponging the way around our body. Now, we're very lucky. When we're born, we produce in abundance natural antioxidant producing enzymes, and these neutralize these free radicals. So that's why children grow and they flourish and they thrive. From around about the age of 20-25, what happens is we slow down the production of these enzymes. Our body thinks we've done our growing, and they're called survival genes as well, or anti-aging genes. They've got lots of different names, but that's what they are. But what happens is we're exposing ourselves to more and more free radicals through our lifestyle, through smoking, through drinking, through the pesticides and herbicides and all interference that goes on in the way we have food, through our stress levels. Think about our mother's generations. And I don't want to be sexist, but at my age, my mother wasn't still working, and I am still working in my mid-40s. Life has changed. People are not sleeping as well. In fact, the World Health Organization has declared a sleep epidemic in the developed world. It's so crazy. People aren't looking after themselves. Sleeping is such a major part of our health. Anyway, so as we get older, we produce more and more of these free radicals and less of these enzymes, and that deficit that's created is oxidative stress, and it's damage caused to our cells, and that is the primary reason we get illness and disease. And you can see on the right hand side all of the conditions you're familiar with. Like, think about how many people do you know who have got heart conditions? How many people do you know have developed cancer, that have skin issues, circulatory issues, immune conditions? I think autoimmune conditions are extraordinary. 30 years ago, you didn't hear of things like lupus or fibromyalgia. They were around, but you didn't hear about them to the same extent. And this is all caused by oxidative stress. In fact, this slide here, I screenshotted this in October, so this number has completely changed. But if you go to PubMed, which is the US's National Library for Medicine, and you put in oxidative stress, you'll see there's over 180,000 studies done into oxidative stress. So knowing what we know, you can see why we get excited. And also, if you go to PubMed.gov and put in Protandim, you can see that there are 23 published studies there. So what is Protandim NRF2? Well, as I mentioned, it's clinically proven to lower our oxidative stress by 40%, by an average of 40%, in some cases a lot more than that, in 30 days. Now, when I first heard that, I trained in nutrition, so I know about oxidative stress. I assumed it was kind of the next all singing, all dancing antioxidant, like, you know, goji berries came out and everybody raved about them, blueberries came out and everybody raved about them. But let me tell you, this is not an antioxidant, and this is where nutrigenomics is so powerful. When you take Protandim, it creates a pathway to every cell in your body, and it triggers the increased production of those key enzymes that we produce in abundance as children, but less as we get older. Now, taking a look at some of those enzymes and giving it a comparison to what an antioxidant is, because I get people saying to me, well, you know, I take a bowl of blueberries, or I'm drinking some pomegranate juice or whatever, and that's all good. But a sort of 3-ounce bowl of blueberries is going to neutralize around about 7,000 free radicals. Whereas your body possesses something called superoxide dismutate, or SOD for short. One molecule of SOD will neutralize 1 million free radicals per second, all day, every day, for up to 14 days. So when you go, well, my SOD production is going to increase to 30%, your oxidative stress is literally, it's like a fire hose in your body putting out that fire, versus taking, you know, antioxidants through nutrition is like throwing a glass of water on that fire. So it's super, super powerful. It also increases catalase and increases glutathione. Now, here's what people say to me, well, what can you expect? And what we don't do is we don't claim to cure, prevent, treat, mitigate any illness or disease. But I know whoever called you today will have given you some sort of excited, telling you about this product and what it's doing. And when you hear these excitable testimonials, when people share their own experience on it, I often say to people, you know, I had somebody the other day, they phoned me and they said, you know, this is a chronic sleeper. She was not sleeping. She was sleeping maybe 3 hours a night if she was lucky. And she said, you know, I'm back after 6 months, took a little bit of time. I'm sleeping 8 hours a night. And she said, and you know what? I'm losing weight. She said, it's helping me lose weight. And I said, it's not helping you lose weight. When you're not sleeping, your body increases its cortisol, and cortisol increases other hormones in your body that act as your kind of hunger hormones. So you eat more and you hang on to stuff. So I said, you know, you get these crazy testimonials, and it's not the product healing itself, it's your body healing itself, which is so powerful. So it increases catalase, it increases glutathione. Again, don't do this now, but I challenge you, go check out the benefits of glutathione. So powerful. So the product is proven to extend life. That was one of the amazing studies done, independently backed. And again, when I talk about these products, I always say we're not deficient in them. This is the difference between supplementation. Nobody is turmeric deficient. Nobody has a lack of milk thistle in their body. These products, in their synergistic blend, trigger that pathway to the NRF2 and help your body lower its oxidative stress. Now, our second flagship product is called Protandim NRF1. And the second major reason that we get illness and we get disease is because of mitochondrial dysfunction. And quite simply, the mitochondria is a very important part of our cellular structure. It's what creates 95% of our body's energy. It keeps our brain healthy, your heart muscles healthy. We've all been sitting here. The mitochondria has been working furiously to produce energy for our body. Now, what this product does is it creates a pathway to the NRF1, which is again another pathway into every cell in your body. And it triggers your body to produce something called ATP. And ATP is a protein that restores and repairs your mitochondria. So very briefly, I didn't mention NRF2 is $43.50 a month delivered, $44 a month delivered to your door. And we recommend you take the two together. Main reason is there's no point restoring your mitochondria when the primary reason that your mitochondria breaks down is because of oxidative stress. That's like taking your car home from the garage after a great service, opening the bonnet and leaving the bonnet open and letting the wind and the rain and the leaves and the sand and the dust and the dirt to get in. It would be, why would you do that? You wouldn't do it. So we recommend you take the two together. And again, you're not deficient in any of the ingredients here. Quite simply, this blend helps trigger this pathway, restore the mitochondria. And I have to say, this is what I call the energy product. I've been on this product for coming up to a year, and I never thought I would have more energy than I already did on NRF1. I don't get that mental fatigue or fog dip or that desire to dive into a bar of chocolate at about 4 in the afternoon. I just keep going. So those are 2 flagship products. We've also been so lucky that the company are so scientifically led. They've developed a skincare range with that NRF2 technology in it, which again is really powerful. And I love showing this photo. This is a photo of a friend of ours. The photo on the left was taken last January, and then the photo on the right was taken in September. And this was after 9 months of using the skincare range and the 2 Protandim products. And what most people find when they get on that skincare range is that within 30 days, they see their skin's hydration has massively improved, the firmness, reduction in lines, reduction in kind of certain skin textures. We have people with certain skin challenges where they're seeing a massive improvement in their overall skin structure. So that's a little bit on our product. There's a lot more information on our product, but what I wanted to do tonight was make the main focus on our business. And before I dive into the business side of things, I am actually going to stop sharing because I want to unmute a lady who I have been fortunate enough to work with for almost coming up to 2 years, because Jo has a story. Jo is, I'm going to let her tell you everything, but she's a mother to 2 gorgeous children. She's a single mother. She is now building this business from home. And she's had a lot of upheaval in the last 12 months, and having a flexible business has definitely probably added to, you know, at least given her a little bit more flexibility in what's been going on in the last year. So Jo, first of all, introduce yourself, tell us your background. Love to hear who you know, what your professional background was, how you got into the business, and just tell us your story.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks for pulling me on tonight, Laura. My story is just that I used to be really, really unhappy. I was trapped in a marriage that I really wasn't happy in, and I was living away from my family down in Brighton. And you might think, oh, Brighton, fantastic. But I found myself in a relationship that I was really struggling to get out of, and also in a job that I didn't enjoy. But I was loving being a mum, but all these issues were troubling me. And then suddenly, something awful happened. My dad suddenly died. And it just made me really take stock of my life and really make me think, what am I doing? We've only got one life, and I'm stuck in this life that I'm not living. I'm not happy. I have to change some things. So that's when I got the courage to eventually divorce my husband and moved back up north to be close to my dad. Well, my dad actually had had an accident, which meant I thought I was coming home to support my mum looking after him, but unfortunately he died not long after I got home. So that kind of shoved me into a situation where I thought, I'm not passionate about teaching anymore. I was a primary school teacher, and I felt completely trapped in the job. And now, as a single mum, it became a job that just I started to resent. I actually loved the actual contact with the children, but the amount of paperwork that teachers do in the evening is incredible, and the stress, and it's never ending. So I knew I wanted to do something, and I kept thinking, what do I want to do? I know I'm worth more than being trapped in the classroom with that door shut, and I can only go to the toilet when there's a bell, and I can only eat when there's a bell. And I craved freedom, and I didn't know what it was going to be. But I'd always been passionate about nutrition. So I plucked up the courage, started retraining, and became a certified health coach whilst I was working part-time as a teacher and a single mum. And I ventured out to be an entrepreneur. I didn't realise that, not only did I have to learn to be a health coach, but I suddenly had to learn how to be a marketer and, write my emails, write my blogs, try and attract people to come and be my clients. And I was struggling. And then Charlie, who's a friend of Laura's, sent me some information about this. And I said straight away, not interested. I don't want to do network marketing. That's not for me. But she kept persisting and coming back to me and said, Jo, I know you're going to love the information about the product. So I then looked at the science behind the product, absolutely got it straight away, because as Laura says, when you're in nutrition, you understand what oxidative stress is. And I thought, if this really says, does what it says, this is going to help so many people. So I decided that I would just use the product as a sideline around my health coaching business, which I was determined to get off the ground. But actually, over time, I started to really realise I didn't really enjoy one-to-one health coaching. I found it boring. I felt it trapped again. And I thought, I'm actually really enjoying working with a team of people. I'm loving LifeVantage. I'm loving being supported by people like Laura and all the support that's there. And I have my hand held and I followed the system, because we have a duplicatable system. And I just plugged in and followed it. And I can't believe how my life has changed. My finances are changing dramatically. And I suddenly have all this fantastic team of people that I'm working with. I love plugging in with them. I love just the product. I love the business. And to me, it's given me opportunities that I could have never dreamed of before. As a teacher, my perks of the job was that I might get a few pens or pencils or rubbers or maybe a prick stick now and again. But now, in 2 weeks' time, not even 2 weeks, in 10 days' time, I'm off to Utah for 4 days as a winter holiday and a training event with LifeVantage. And then in May, I'm off to Bahamas, and my children have never, ever been on holiday since I became a single mum. My son has never been on an aeroplane, and I'm taking him off to Bahamas with me. And then I've qualified for the other holiday in September, which I'm able to take my daughter with me. So the children can't believe that this is happening. And this is all working from home around me, fitting this in around my children. I'm allowed to, I can take them to school. I can pick them up from school. I can take them to meetings. My daughter's fanatical about musical theatre. So I can just work around that, take her to practices, work around my son who's parkour mad, and it just works. And to me, I don't resent working long hours on this at all, because I'm passionate about it. Whereas when I was a teacher, I resented marking 30 books on 5 different subjects every night. So this is more fun and I love it.
Oh, fantastic. It's just interesting, Jo. I obviously know Jo is going to Utah and Bahamas, and the third trip you didn't mention is to Malta. I knew that, but when you put it like that those are all just things you've qualified for, from building your business, from following a system, is pretty powerful. One question I get asked quite often by people is like, well, how do you get to meet people? What do you do? And I think everyone who knows me, I'm a member of a networking group, and that's a commitment I do. But most of the time it's actually just being social, going out, going out today, watch the boys play football on the common, chat to mums. You hear things in passing, somebody complaining about not sleeping, having an ache or a pain, and you can get talking about your product without, as I say, getting the flip chart out and being the neighborhood bore. You can mention in passing, I'm sorry to hear that, but I have something that might help you. Can I send you something to look at later? How do you do it, Jo?
The same. I just listen and show interest in people, ask them questions and listen. And then just keep, showing interest in people. And then when I say, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that, I do have something that I can help you with. Could I send you some information? And that's just how I work. And a lot on Facebook Messenger. Most of my business is built from being on Facebook, just through Messenger. But, when Lara said that I've had a tough year, I just wanted to say that, as a teacher, I know that I couldn't have looked after my mum like I did in the last 12 months. My mum unfortunately got run over about a year ago. She already had cancer, but she was doing really, really well. And from the moment that happened, obviously I was running this business and I was able to just pull myself away from it. And it didn't really affect my business because my upline, which is Charlie and Laura, helped straight away. And you don't have that in a normal job. People wouldn't kind of reach out and take over for you. But obviously, that just happened naturally. And unfortunately, my mum's health really declined and I lost her in September. And obviously that was, me and my mum were so close and that was a real shock. And I was able to kind of grieve and have a bit of time for myself around this. And then I've got back in and just plugged away. And then yesterday I had another disaster. My mum's dog died. And so yesterday I had another day off because it was just like, oh. But if I'd have been in teaching or a normal 9-to-5 job, obviously I couldn't have done that. So this is, to me, a job, well, not job, it's like you're the entrepreneur, it's your business, but you can work it around your situations that are happening, your daily ups and downs that you have in your life.
Absolutely. I think it's, when you, again, I know the troubles you've had in the last year, and I look at my own life over the last 7.5 years working from home, and I had a bricks and mortar business for 8 years. If I was gone, when I took my maternity leaves, they weren't real maternity leaves. They were 8 weeks on all 3 occasions. And a lot of the time I was going into the office with a baby and breastfeeding and getting stuff done because I was not, I couldn't be not in the business, which was really, really hard. And I know so many people, my son had an accident in October and had spent the best part of 4 months not at school. He was at home with me. And I just shifted all the things that I did between 9 and 3:30. Instead of meeting people in a coffee shop, they were either coming to the house or I was doing it on Zoom, and it was fine. Doing it on this. So yeah, I think it's powerful to hear because, one thing is that building a business, and you're now doing this full-time during school hours, and the kids are as am I, or as full-time as probably 20 hours a week during school hours, aside from running a house and all, and it does afford us that flexibility. But Jo, I want you to stay with me, and I'm going to continue the presentation going back to where we're at, and I think the kind of the reason we wanted to share that story tonight is people often kind of look at this and kind of go, you might be like me, who had businesses but haven't got a business, looking for something. You might be somebody who's in a corporate situation who's going, if only I could have something that I could work from home, but you haven't got that idea, or maybe you don't have the financial backing, or maybe you're somebody who is at home with children and you're thinking, actually, I would love something. And we all do work independently. I work in my room here in London, and Jo is up in Burnley, but we can communicate through social media, we can communicate through technology, and it gives us a sense of being a part of something greater. And I think when you look at social entrepreneurship, I think it's safe to say the way business is being done today has changed forever. And what LifeVantage have done is they've embraced a whole load of technologies and platforms that exist and give people like us an even playing field to start a business for a relatively low investment. We'll talk about the investment in a moment, and actually get up and running. And just looking at some of the technologies that exist, I always talk about Uber. Uber fascinates me that it has created a gig economy in itself. There are people who historically wanted to be taxi drivers or set up their own companies, but they didn't have the means to do that. Now people can download an app. As long as they have a car and they comply with all the rules and regulations and send in their paperwork, they become an Uber driver overnight. They don't have to advertise themselves. They just turn on the app and go, I'm ready to drive. And the jobs in the area come in as and when, and they get paid. They don't even have to set up a credit card system. A kind of swipe card system costs £10-15 a month. They don't even have that. Now, I know Uber has created a separate debate, and we're not going to do that tonight, but just showing the ease of which creating this has created. It's the largest transportation company in the world, yet they don't even own a car. Take something like HelloFresh. It's a subscription-based program that means people who want to eat well, don't have time to shop and buy lots of bits and pieces, get a box sent to them with a week's worth of food and all the ingredients. So, have you ever thought, oh, I'd really like to cook that dish, but I don't really want to buy lemongrass because it comes with 10 in a jar and I only want one? Well, that's what HelloFresh do. They also encourage you to refer your friends. So if I refer my friends to do HelloFresh, you earn £10 or something off your next box. I don't know. Airbnb, again, it's now the largest booking platform in the world, yet they don't own a single hotel or guest house, but it's given, the guy in the street an even playing field. I have a friend who owns a flat in Balham that he Airbnbs it all the time. So people coming to Balham, whether they're people who just want to stay in London and want to be slightly in the suburbs, or whether they have children in the area coming to visit, he rents it on a night-by-night basis. And there's actually now cleaning companies based around Airbnb that go in and clean these places. So landlords don't even have to do that. Amazon, largest bookstore in the world, doesn't own an actual premises. And Amazon has created a platform for this whole world of e-commerce entrepreneurship. If you're good at knowing what sells online, you can set up an e-commerce platform and use Amazon as your vehicle. And Facebook is just one of so many different social media platforms. I actually put a post out on LinkedIn about an hour ago, and I've already had 2 inquiries. They flashed up while I've been talking to you guys. I've had to turn my phone over because I didn't want to be distracted by it. But I haven't paid for that. I've just written something that's interesting and people see it and want to know what it is. So social media, technology, apps have created a platform that allows people like us. And what LifeVantage have done is they've taken the concept of network marketing, which we'll look at now. If you've got a laptop or a tablet, I'd even say a very good smartphone, access to social media, you can create a business with none of the traditional headaches. My last business, I raised over £500,000 to get it off the ground. And we had, I knew what it cost every month to come into the office because of the rent, the rates, the staffing, the insurance, the trademarks. This is something you can get up and running without those traditional business shackles that, require massive investment. And you have an online shopping portal. And I love this. When I first looked at this, I remember saying, so you're telling me that the second I register as a distributor, I get a website that looks like this. I don't have to go developing anything. I was told, no, don't go trying to develop your own website. I was going, you. Then I learned that all I needed to do, I could market these products in 9 markets. So if my aunt in LA wants to order product, I'm not filling up Jiffy bags and going to the post office and sending it off. What happens is she selects the American flag, selects the products in her local currency in dollars. It gets shipped directly to her. And a week later, I get paid commissions in sterling into my bank account. And that got me excited. That immediately said to me, that's one of the biggest hurdles of getting a business up and running is, well, how are you going to sell these things? So explaining what we do in LifeVantage, we're in the world of network marketing, and ultimately we build 2 types of networks. One is that of customers. And I said to you earlier that 80% of the people who join LifeVantage are customers. These are people just taking the products, consuming them on a monthly basis. We have a subscription-based program which makes it more affordable for people to get on the product on a monthly basis to enjoy it. Do customers refer customers? Absolutely, that happens all the time, but they're not being paid to. They're just people enjoying the product. Then we build a network of distributors, so people like myself and Joe, and we just happen to be 2 months having this conversation today, but people who want to develop an additional income or an income, whether that's part-time from home or full-time from home. 95% of the people who work with us do this on a part-time basis, whether it's around family commitments, career commitments, caring for an elderly commitments, studies, or whatever the case might be. So that's what we do, is we go out and develop a network of people. Now, how do we get started? Well, here in the UK, we have 2 business systems. We have something called a gold pack and we have a platinum pack. But the law of our land says that everybody needs to get started on day 1 on a starter kit. We're not allowed to spend more than £200 in our first 7 days. And that starter pack is amazing. It comes with 2 duo packs. So you've got product to get on yourself, so you can start experiencing Pro Tandem for yourself. And at 1 duo pack that we can help you go out and start enrolling customers. It also comes with your website. You don't pay an ongoing fee for your website. It is included in the pack. That is yours. You're not paying a monthly subscription or anything like that. So regardless if you have 100 people ordering from that website a week or a month, or one person a month, it's yours. It also comes with a launch guide and a blueprint on how to build your business. Just like any good business, we have a system, and it's a proven system. Now, what happens is once that first 7-day cooling off period has expired, you're then in a position to get your full business system. The system I work with, and I chose myself, was the Platinum Pack. Why? Because it comes with the most amount of product. I could see what I'd actually been on this product before it launched in the UK, and I wanted to get it into as many people's hands as quickly as possible. So you've got the Platinum Pack there. It has a retail value of £582, and it costs that with free shipping. The Platinum Pack unlocks the entire compensation plan, but it also comes with something called the Platinum Pack Experience. And the company run incentives all the time. You just heard Jo talk about going to Utah, Bahamas, and Malta this year. She has just qualified for those incentives. You know, that's the lovely thing. By just building our business, helping people get on the product, helping people get started, we get to qualify things like that. And the Platinum Experience is, with the incentives, adds a few bells and whistles. Your other option is to upgrade to the Platinum Pack, and that is $360 with shipping included. It has a retail value of around about £424. So great value packed. Both of them unlock the full compensation plan. So what happens next? Well, from the moment you enroll, we want to get some information to you so we can help you get started and go through the training process. And I always use the analogy or the comparison to McDonald's. And I know McDonald's is a very unhealthy brand, and I shouldn't be talking about it because we're talking health here tonight. But one thing McDonald's have is a system. They have a proven system. And when people invest £500,000 in a McDonald's franchise, the premises and all of that, they go and do the training and they follow the McDonald's system. They don't decide that they're going to put marshmallows in their hot chocolates, or they're going to put, you know, I don't know, sweet corn in their burgers. I don't know. It's been years since I've been at McDonald's. So I don't even know what they serve anymore. They follow the system to the T. They don't decide, you know what, we're not going to bother with breakfast. We're going to open at midday. We're going to be one of those ones that open at midday. They open at whatever time, 6 a.m. and they close at whatever it is, 12 p.m. So there's a system in place. So just like McDonald's, we have a system. We have a launch guide. We have a learn and earn guide. So once you've launched your business, you've got your first sort of dozen or so customers on board, your first handful of distributors, we have a learn and earn guide, which is designed to teach you and upskill you on this business, which we're all doing. You know, I still attend training events today, and I've been in the industry 7 years. And people always say, oh my goodness, you sat there and you took like 8-9 pages of notes. And what could you still be learning? I'm going, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. So we have distributor training. So step one is getting you to the distributor training so we can help you launch your business. We want to help you start to enroll customers and enroll distributors so you can start earning commissions and you can start building that business. So that's how to get started. Now, in LifeVantage, in network marketing, we have two types of income streams. We have what we call linear income. Linear income, we all understand if you work today in a job, or you know, you may be a practitioner, a physio, or a personal trainer. If you see a client, you get paid for seeing that client. It's one-off payment. It's work you do today, you get paid for today, or maybe next week. We also have something called residual income. Okay, and residual income is an author, J.K. Rowling, wrote books 20 years ago, still being paid for them today. Paul McCartney, Beatles, wrote songs back in the 60s, still be paying for them now. You get residual income out of property, but there is income and capital required for property, and there's also risk associated. But if you own a property and it's being rented, you're getting income every single month. So you get the idea. Now, in LifeVantage, we have linear income, which is every time you enroll a new customer or you help a new distributor get started in the business, you get paid. But as your business grows and you build a network of customers and distributors using the product, you get paid a residual income. And we do have a full compensation video, which you can be directed to after this call. But what I want to do tonight is I want to just take you to our income disclosure statement. LifeVantage is quoted on the NASDAQ. So as part of their annual compliance with the Attorney General, making sure that they tick all the boxes and do everything by the book, they have to produce and publish an income disclosure statement. And this is the one from the last 12 months. And you can see here, this is the total payout. The company pays this out to the distributors. This is the average monthly residual check. Now, I'm not talking about the week to week every time you enroll a customer or you help a distributor get started. I'm talking about a residual check. And often when we talk to people about the business, they sort of say to me, you know, well, can I do this? And I always flip it around and say, look, have a look at this. What would you want to be earning in order to make this worth your while? What is it that you would like to be going, yes, you know, I'd like to be at home, whether it's, you know, not at work, at home with children, at home with a caring for somebody. What would you need to be earning in order to make that happen? And I know when I first got into this industry 7 years ago, I'll be quite honest with you, I didn't believe these income statements when I saw them. I thought, these are just income statements that, you know, these companies make, but these are validated, they're legal statements, they have to be. And I got into this industry really to kind of not go back to work, and I didn't need a lot. Actually, at the time it was only about £500 or £600 a month I needed, because I'd done the maths on going back to work, getting a job, putting 3 children in London into childcare, commuting in and out of London, having lunch, all the costs associated with that. And that was really probably all I was going to be up at the end of the day after paying everything out. And I thought, well, if I can just make that from home, then I don't need an income. So that's what I got to do. I went to work. And once I got to that level, I was shown how to get to the next level, how to help people. And I think Jo made a really good point earlier. She talked about, you know, when she went through those last couple of months with her mum, you know, there's a system in network marketing, is other people's success is our success. So the growth of Jo's business is the growth of our business. So unlike the traditional world of work, where, you know, you might begrudge someone picking up their work commitments if they're not around, in this industry you don't. In fact, in this industry, when the new person arrives in, it's, how can I help you? Let me show you how to get going. What is your goal? You want to be a Pro 4 earning £1,000 a month from home? Let me show you how. Again, you know, in the traditional sense of work, if you're in an office, and, you know, I had my own recruitment company for years, and I'd get a new consultant who would start, and I'd ask somebody to show them the ropes. They'd show them the ropes, but they didn't want them to be better than them, because they didn't want to get the promotion ahead of them. Whereas in this, people often say to me, well, what is it you do? And I said, well, I go out and share the products and the business opportunity with people, and I work with those who want to build it. And my success is based on other people's success. So I do a lot of mentoring, a lot of training. And that's a fun bit, because I get to work with great people like Jo and Joy and Karina. I've seen a few other names popping up tonight that work with us. So what I would say to you is, what would you need to be doing in order to make this worth your while? And at the beginning, I touched very briefly on timing, and timing is really, really important. I think it's very safe to say, when somebody presents something to you, you know, the first mover's advantage in every industry is at the forefront of a trend, not at the tail end of a trend. You know, if somebody came to you and said, look, I've got a business opportunity and it's, I don't know, the cure for cancer, you go, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I want in. But if it's in 50 years from now, when the cure has been around and 99% of people don't get cancer anymore, is that still an opportunity? No, it's not. So being at the forefront of something is really key. And the whole biohacking area is something that, if tonight's the first time you've heard of it, you will hear a lot more. It's also at the forefront of this new wave of social entrepreneurship, which is really exciting. So very briefly, I know I just touched on launching your business, but Jo, you know, again, people always say, can I do this? And I always say to people, it's not about whether you can do this, it's about whether you're willing to be coachable. And I use my own experience when I first got into this industry, because I had been an entrepreneur, I had had bricks and mortar businesses, I thought I knew better. I didn't follow the system at all. I was terrible. I was told to write a list of who do I know, and I wrote a list of 10 people, which I know hundreds of people. We all know hundreds of people. I didn't follow the invite script because I thought I knew better, and I failed miserably. But thankfully, I figured out, you know, I should listen to the people who are actually building a successful business, and I followed the system, and I'm fortunate enough to say I'm still here 7.5 years later with a great business to talk about. But Jo, I just want to, you know, come to you, because I know that when you got involved in the business, you were very product led because of your health coaching background. And you had a real turning point in your business. Would you be willing to share that with us? Because it always makes me laugh, because I when I first got into this industry of network marketing, didn't really think I was in the business of network marketing. Do you want to share that with us?
Yeah, Lisa always reminds me about it, because I was embarrassed that this was part of a network. I absolutely love the product, but I didn't want anybody to know that it came from network marketing because I thought there was such a stigma around network marketing, and I thought I didn't want to be associated with that. And I was doing one of my first ever launch, like opportunity meetings, launch events, whatever, at Burnley Football Club. And Lisa, one of the main women in the UK, was coming to help me to do it. And I rang her that afternoon and I said, Lisa, I haven't told anybody that it's network marketing, so please don't mention the business. And she said, what? Oh, Jo, you're going to have to get over that. And she came and we did it mainly about the product, but obviously we did mention that was a business. But what shifted was when I started to see my own success, and I started to think, why am I embarrassed about this? Why? This is fantastic. I've got people helping me. I've got, a system that I'm following. It's easy. It's like a paint by number system. And to me now, it's one of the best business models ever. Anybody can plug themselves into. And so I'm proud about it now. So obviously I'm not embarrassed anymore. If somebody asks me, what's the product? Is it network marketing? Is it one of those pyramid things? And of course I smile and I say, I used to think that. And what do you mean by pyramid? And then often they can't explain to you what they mean by pyramid. It's just that they've heard network marketing's got a big stigma about it. And so obviously I can straight away relate to that, because that's how I used to feel. But now I absolutely, I've shifted my mindset about it.
Absolutely. Well, I just tell you, my shift in my mindset in this industry was when I saw people at the front of the stage earning this sort of money and this sort of money and this sort of money. And I've always been a very product-led person, as you know, with my background in health and well-being. I love this product because I know what it's doing for people. It's so powerful. And I sat there and I realized I wasn't going to be able to get the world on this product on my own. And I also realized it wasn't for me to decide who was to look at this product or this business either. It was just my job to go out and invite people to take a look. And that's when my mindset changed. And, when any time I have in that position, which doesn't really happen very often, because I'm so proud of, I was at a Chamber of Commerce event last night. I met this optician and she's a lovely lady, and she said, oh, but isn't it part of a network marketing business? And I went, yes, it is. And I'm so proud it is. And her whole face just changed. But I'm really, really proud of that, because I just sort of said to her, look, people who want to get on the product, just take the product. People who want to get involved in the business do. So, there's no better way to be helping people with their health, but also helping people provide a stable and solid, and hopefully in the future a big income for themselves. So what I say on that note is thank you to all of you for joining us this evening. We really appreciated having you on. If you've got any questions, get back to the person who invited you on this evening, and they'll be able to direct you to sources of information that will get those questions answered. If you're somebody who wants to get on the product, please do. As you heard earlier, we love our customers. 80% of people who join us are customers. And if you're somebody like myself and Jo who can get excited about this, we may not have answered all the questions tonight. We usually don't. This is just to get to know us and hear really about what this is about. Then please get back in touch. We can get those last few questions answered, and we can help get you started and help you have a business like Jo and myself in the future. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you all this evening, and I look forward to welcoming you all and working with many of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.